Hi all, we are in it. We have begun our passage through Mercury in retrograde, starting on the 13th of October and through November 3rd. We're in this energy. So we're learning how to work with it, roll with it, and grow through it. I felt that it might be helpful to do a quick reading just for the general collective to see where we're at with our mind space, heart space, and action at this moment in time. So for our mind space, our head space, where are we at? 10 of Swords. This is typically known as the card of ruin in Rider-Waite Tarot. It's the one where there's a person lying on the ground with 10 swords in their back. So it is not light or joyful, but it speaks to the ending of something very painful. And so in this sense, in our mind spaces, it's like we're making sense of something that has come to an end. And it isn't really about particular like love relationships. It's more of group endings. So in that sense, it's more like job shifting, family dynamics changing, groups of friendships having shifting as well. So in the collective, we're adjusting to that change. And the way that this card is portrayed shows the figure walking towards the horizon. This has been something that's been in the works. It is not out of the blue, even though it may feel like a sudden shock, and that's why the mind is still reeling, still like tuning in and feeling this energy kind of intensely. But ultimately, there's this knowing that this was the way that things were going to go anyway, and head out to the horizon to where it feels expansive and free and open. So big change, big shifting, possibly even, you know, in the spiritual realm, we discuss egoic death or spiritual death, but that's more like shifting the way that we believe things to be. And it's almost a shock at times when that happens. So writing that out as best as you can, understanding that others are experiencing this too, and that if you're seeing the people around you it are shifting, you're no longer in the same space that you were, that's okay. Stay the course. Whatever feels right for your soul. Know that you're supported. I feel like the presence of birds here is always very supportive. That's always this like reminder that your faith has got you. And it's not a card of being completely alone. It's just a card of shifting. So then in the heart space we have the Six of Cups, which I just love how it's portrayed in this deck, which is the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. So in this deck, they do a really nice job of showing what unconditional love can feel like. You know, the child and his puppy, and then the adult and his grown dog. This beautiful connection between the two, this cycle of life. And so this card can often speak to nostalgia, a return to our families, like physically going back home, going to your grandparents' home, going to your childhood home, connecting with siblings, connecting with friends from your past, loves from your past. It's perfect that this card showed up for Mercury retrograde, because this is a time to look back on those relationships, to take some accountability for our communication as well, and acknowledge how we show up for those that we love. Yeah, I think it's a really nice time to purge and release anything that's no longer serving, and step into where it's like, I'm not carrying this heavy burden anymore. These old grudges, that sort of thing, putting them down and making way for that love to flow. Yeah, that feels nice. And then the action card is the Hanged Man. So with the Hanged Man showing up, it is a time to take a higher perspective on things. I don't view this as a card of stagnation at all. I view this card as eagle medicine, which would be taking the highest perspective possible, seeing all the pieces falling into place, seeing all the perspectives, seeing all the people, places, and experiences, and and how they interrelate, correlate, and then making a choice for what action to take. So another beautiful aspect of this card is that, similar to the Tower, it's not like you're choosing to just set yourself aside and take a look at other perspectives. You've been forced to do this. Something in your life has shown up to make this a possibility for you to do. So do it. Whether it's you find yourself in a situation where lots of information is presented to you from all different viewpoints, instead of jumping to take any one side, really neutralize yourself and get into that observer mode to make an informed decision, and less of a reactive response and more of a well thought out, felt through, researched response. Okay. And then for the feminine energies within all of us, as well as the feminine beings in our lives, the Fool card is showing up. So the Fool showing up here is asking that the feminine nature within us be willing to take a leap of faith. The leap of faith is not a completely reckless card or action, because if you see, she does have tools. It's a crystal in her hand, but that's her tool that she's carrying. And it also looks like she's holding on to something. So there's a little bit of like wanting to free fall, but having done some type of preparation for it. So this feels like, where is your heart pulling you? Where is that like inner vital life force asking to be expressed? Is it through a new creative project? Is it through a new collaboration? Is it through looking for a job that you never would have saw yourself in? Or taking a risk and starting up a new hobby? Something of that sort, where it's not a complete throw all caution to the wind. Throw some, but still be prepared. Mainly remembering to tune into your faith, and that you'll be held and provided for as needed. So be prepared, but also allow some of that free fall so that you can trust in what feels right for you and your soul to express. And for the masculine energy within us, and the masculine energies in our lives, is the Death and Rebirth card. So this is the card of transformation. So this speaks to masculine energy really going through a phoenix through the ashes moment. I really feel like it mirrors the Ten of Swords. These two both speak to the end of something, and it feels like, in a very personal sense, some way of being, doing, knowing, loving, acting, speaking is shifting. And there's this like kind of time of like catching your footing while this is happening. What I'm highlighted to in this card is nature. Every time we work with cards, we see something different, but this time in this card, I'm really drawn to the trees. And the color of the sky kind of indicating any time of day. It feels like through this process of transformation, one of the most healing modalities to work with is grounding, earthing, being in nature. Just being in nature. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to pay to forest bathe. You can just be in nature. Stop and hear what it's telling you. Feel what it's telling you, see what it's telling you. We have these innate gifts, and when we quiet our minds and our restless energy, we can tune into those gifts better and surprise ourselves with what we experience. Powerful energy happening right now for the masculine within us as well as the feminine. It's like something has completely transformed, and now there's this opportunity to take a brand new leap of faith. And so I just want to pull one overall message, because there's so much change and transformation, as well as work in terms of going back to the root of it all, going back to our childhood wounds, mother, father wounds as well, and revisiting where we held on to old beliefs that no longer serve. So I'm going to pull a clarifier on our action just to see as a collective, in addition to gaining multiple perspectives and continuing on the path to enlightenment, which, you know, if you're on a spiritual journey or not, however you grow, how are you growing, you know? Is it through meditation? Is it through art and expression? Is it through reading and research? Is it through pouring your heart and soul into something? How do you grow? All right, so an action for the collective in addition to the Hanged Man here. King of Cups. I love this card also. Beautifully portrayed in this deck. The artwork is just gentle. King of Cups is asking for us to focus on emotional mastery. I think that is tuning into that, like, no longer reacting, responding. No more knee-jerk reactions to everything flying off the handle. Take that moment, filter it through the heart center, as you see there are rays coming out from that heart center, and then make a decision, speak, take action, let it sit. Not everything needs to be said right away. Not everything needs to be done right away. But for it to be authentic for you, let it filter through. Also tune into intuition, tune into dream state, tune into healing modalities for yourself. He's there with a singing bowl, so there is healing energy in music and frequencies. So find what it is that works best for you to help you to get in that space where you can be more neutral in your responses and more balanced in one's own emotional state. It's doable. Even in the midst of everything going on, this, like, the king doesn't just show up for no reason. This is here as an energy that we all can embody. So I love that. And the message from the Kuan Yin transmission overall was one of reliance. So it's definitely asking for us to kind of release our burdens and let our faith-based system step in and guide us, whatever faith that may be. I do love to work with the energy of Kuan Yin. I feel like she is incredible, and I just feel connected to her. And the card here says, "Rely upon me for all things. Allow my heart with its generosity, grace, and resourcefulness to nourish yours. There's no need to be anxious. I hold your heart in my own." So, nice message. Essentially, there's nothing to worry about. Continue to work on the emotional mastery, going through this process of transformation. So wishing you so much love, light, embodiment of love and light during this Mercury retrograde. And I will talk to you all soon.